There we go. We're back again. And when this is released, wait, because this feels weird, doesn't it? Because now it's October and this is a Christmas episode.
Yeah, it's the very end of October.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
feels that. So, Merry Christmas time to
yes,
everyone.
happy holidays for those that don't celebrate Christmas.
Yes, I forget about that. Need to be inclusive, Victoria. Indeed. So I was just saying before I press record, we've had loads of beautiful questions and I've condensed some of mine. So I've had quite a few of the same questions in a different way. So apologies for not shouting out the person, the name, etc. But we are going to provide all the value as usual, aren't we, Julia?
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to this. I think we're going to have to be good with ourselves and not going off on tangents because we do have quite a lot of questions to get through and we do disappear off down some rabbit hole or other,
We
which
do.
is always great, but doesn't get through all the questions.
Okay, so let's rein each other in if we need to. Full permission to tell me to just get on with it, okay?
Absolutely. And vice versa.
Okay. So you go first, my love, with a question, and whether you want to start
Okay.
or whatever, just let me know.
Well, this is a very Christmassy one. It's from Claire, and she says there is so much food around at Christmas, and it makes me really anxious. I'll be going to my mum's for Christmas. She has finally stopped pressuring me to eat when I don't want to. But even so, I get really stressed and I end up restricting even more than I usually would. How can I feel less stressed?
Ooh, good one. Who do you want to answer first?
Well, I asked, so you can answer.
Okay. Well, first of all, Claire, I would say be gentle with yourself. I know it might be alien to you, it might not. I think is are you coaching, Claire?
I am.
So of course you know self-compassion then. Obviously. So I would say self-compassion, number one, which can feel alien, it can feel weird, but just be really gentle with yourself. Because if you've got pressure from your mum or used to have pressure from your mum, it's common for you to then put pressure on yourself on top of pressure. So you start with yourself and just take the pressure off. And in recovery, obviously, the goal is unrestricted eating, but the environment can cause overwhelm. So, what can you do? I know it's not your particular environment, if it's your mum's setting, what can you do to help yourself in the environment? Maybe it's just something with your mindset, just thinking, right, there's a lot of food, but I'm just going to like take one thing at a time and just practice tuning into my body and eating unrestrictedly. I think without going off on a tangent, the number one thing I would say is just be gentle and slow and be kind to herself. And if she can ask for guidance from her mum or change the environment to support her, then what might that look like? That's what I would say.
Yeah, I agree. And also, um, can you take some games? Can you take a pack of cards? Can you take something to change the atmosphere and the focus from food to just having fun? And therefore, the food can be part of the day, but not the focus of the day. And just kind of, it lightens the atmosphere and it stops you focusing on the fear.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you're right. If it's all about the food and that's it can just be completely overwhelming. But as food
Yeah.
is a very delicious, pleasurable part of life, it doesn't have to be all about food, even at
No,
is it?
no, not at all. And you can actually almost look forward to it by maybe getting a bit creative and making place names for people and doing like designs for funny little hats for people and stuff like that, and make it about what you can bring to it that's not to do with the food and lighten the atmosphere rather than have it all focused on food.
Yeah. I fully agree. Okay, I will go with the question. So these were like five questions I've condensed into two. So I'm going to say both of them because they're the kind of same thing.
Okay.
Triggering comments from family members about food and other people's bodies, people watching you and commenting on the amount and type of food you're eating. Common ones, right?
They are, yes. And it's going to happen, unfortunately. We can't prevent it. So
No.
we need to be able to cope with it. So having compassion, definitely, for yourself, for how it feels, and Perhaps for the person that's saying the triggering comment, because they're trapped in diet culture. And that's not a nice place to be. So having compassion for that as well. Um, if it's with really close family, you could ask them to not make comments about what you're eating or what you look like or anything like that, and put some boundaries in beforehand to help yourself. That's what I did for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And I've wrote some examples down. So, number one, you could, because there's ways of handling it. And like you say, depending on who is saying it, you might alter kind of how you approach this. And you don't have to say anything because, like Julia said, it's going to happen. Even when you recovered, it still happens
Yeah.
because unfortunately, most of the people in the world are stuck in diet culture, and that sucks. But number one, you could deflect. You could like casually deflect or change the subject. And this might sound something like, oh, let's talk about something more joyful. Tell me about what you're most looking forward to this Christmas or whatever bullshit you want to ask. Just you can casually deflect. I'm mentioning what Julie's just mentioned about setting boundaries. So you could say, I would appreciate it if we keep the conversation away from food and bodies today and be quite, firm, but loving with the boundary. And people are going to respond differently, but you can always go first. Number three, you can practicing handling food related, body related comments with confidence. So I would say something like, I'm listening to what my body needs right now. It feels great to enjoy everything I want to enjoy this holiday. So just making it like about your personal experience, and they can do whatever they want to do. And a common thing in my family was, oh, it's Christmas. Like basically, because it's Christmas, it means you have to like force feed yourself and eat when you don't want to. But then in the restriction, they used it as like, oh, it's Christmas as an excuse almost, or as a justification to eat unrestrictedly, when actually that should be the goal always,
Yes.
in my opinion. How many have I got? I wrote 7 down. Right, number 4, respond with curiosity. And again, the person who you respond this way with might be not your family, it might be a friend. I'm curious, why do you feel the need to comment on food or bodies? I found that focusing on health and how I feel makes more sense to me. So you can ask them a question, use humor to lighten the mood. This is something I would definitely say. The food police are off duty right now. So
I love that.
let's just focus on enjoying the moment and making good memories. Like just let go of the food and body police. Okay, there's no place for it here. Number 6, shift focus to what really matters. Like you mentioned earlier with Claire's question about what Christmas even means
Yeah.
and connection and this part of Christmas in, and you could say it this way, you could say it in whatever way you want. Christmas to me is about the connection with you, like building memories, not about what grandma's eating or what I'm eating or what she's eating. So just sharing what it means to you, and then perhaps ask what does it mean to you? And then here's a word again. I think this is a theme already. Self-compassion. Internalize self-compassion. If you don't want to respond, that's okay. If you get triggered, that's okay. Just be really kind to yourself and remind yourself the journey that you are on. Of course, the goal is always unrestricted eating. When you're over the initial extreme hunger part, if you're in anorexia recovery, just listen to your body, follow your mental hunger. And it's a great opportunity to do so at Christmas because there is lots of food around.
Absolutely. Yeah, really is. I've actually got on that subject a really fun question.
Yes.
Just see where I've put it. Hang on.
When you're doing that, I'm taking this top off because Voucher's put the heating on. I'm really hot. So just continue whilst I strip a layer off.
Okay, so it's the question is from Hedy.
Oh, I love it.
And
She's so funny.
it is quite simply, what is your favorite Christmas food?
Oh, I'm answering first, aren't I? Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say 2 because I don't like to say one. Number 1, traditional Christmas dinner, because I'm in the Netherlands and they don't have a traditional Christmas dinner like in England. So whenever I do have it, it's really special and unique now for me. So the traditional Christmas dinner and Quality Streets are a Christmas at Christmas time, you have to have a massive tin of quality streets, and the strawberry and orange creams are always the best.
I just like 100% know they're the worst.
They're the best. We would be perfect to
We
share a tin.
would, we really would. Yeah, because I like the hard toffee ones and stuff.
They're the most annoying ones that get left to last.
And I really don't like those strawberry and orange creams. My favorite isn't a specific food, it's the fact that there's lots of picky bits everywhere and that you can just have completely random selections of food and just pick at this and pick at that. And it's all sort of a lot of it's stuff you wouldn't normally get yourself.
Yeah.
And of course, pigs in blankets.
Oh, that's what I thought for Christmas dinner. Gravy and turkey and cranberry sauce. You have to have a
Yeah,
shitload.
cranberry sauce, pigs in blankets. Yeah.
And it
And
reminds me of when I came to you and it wasn't Christmas. And for lunch, we were like, what shall we have? And we had like random stuff. So crumpets, cheese and butter with like some nuts and some crisps and just like, I love
yeah,
little random bits together.
yeah. And you can keep your Brussels sprouts at Christmas. I don't want them.
I love them. Love Brussels
We
sprouts.
definitely should have Christmas together. Literally, we would just, it would be perfect. We'd have everything, wouldn't we? Because you like the things I don't, and I like the things you don't.
And you're an amazing cook. I'll wash. I'll wash and dry.
Do you know, I'm not even cooking this year. I'm going to the pub
Oh, good for
and
you.
they're doing everything, and I just get to sit there and just enjoy the day.
I recommend that to anyone that is listening. I have no idea what I'm doing because I'll probably be a brand new mother
You
and be
will,
like
yes.
working out what life is again. So I have no idea what I'll be doing.
Awesome. Okay, what question have you got next?
Did you have anything to add to my extremely long 7-step process of people? Oh no, I asked you first. Ignore
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So, okay. My second question, again, I've condensed 5 questions into 2, and it's in my opinion a similar answer. So this is, I really love this one. Feeling like you're pushed and pressured to eating everything in case other people think you're restricting, even though you're not. And then another one, which is similar, how to deal with family members force feeding you when you genuinely don't want anymore, but you need to show them that you're recovered so you feel like you can't say no. So these are more people at the end who have recovered or are in
Yeah.
recovery land. And those people are feeling like they need to eat more to show people that love them, like, it's okay, I'm not restricting, but they don't want it.
Um, Honestly, be honest, say it's okay, I'm not restricting, but I'm full, I don't want to have this.
Mm.
And it's not from a place of fear. So be honest, be open. And part of recovery is about setting boundaries.
Mm.
And so start to set those boundaries, start now so that it's going to be there in time for Christmas so that you can start communicating what you're okay with. And people trying to force you to eat, if that's not something you're okay with, and I wouldn't be,
No.
tell them, say, look, I love you. I appreciate this is coming from a place of love. However, it feels like pressure, it feels uncomfortable, and it's actually really unhelpful to me. So, can you trust me
Mm.
that I know what I need and that I am looking after me now?
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much because it is about trusting what is best for you. And like Julie's already beautifully said, sharing that I appreciate it's coming from love, but I'm really good now. Like I can listen to my body. And just because I say no or might leave some food, it doesn't mean I'm restricting again and I'm back in an eating disorder. It actually is just showing myself and you that I can just listen to my body and I'm nourishing myself every day. So it's a positive thing. So just being honest and sharing, and like you say again, setting boundaries and start now because Christmas is
Yeah, definitely. Well, you don't just need boundaries at Christmas, do you?
no, you need boundaries always. And you've got nothing to prove to anyone. So again, from an internal perspective, I get because I did this actually. Whenever we used to go out for a meal, I would always have dessert because that's what I did. And that's what people expected of me. And it was like safe to have it because they were almost, I thought they were almost like, oh, it's okay if she's having dessert, like she's fine, she's not sick or anything. Like I used to start, restricting and then it got downhill. But actually, you've got nothing to prove to anyone, not even to yourself. So as long as you know yourself that you're not restricting, people are going to just have to get used to you having a normal relationship with food. But
Yeah.
it's come from you because otherwise they won't change, but you can. And it's communication, isn't it? And like you say, setting boundaries.
Yeah. The most important thing is that you're completely honest with yourself.
Yeah.
You're making sure that there are no sneaky eating disorder behaviors creeping in. And so long as you're honest with yourself, then you get to own that. You get to be deciding and putting in those boundaries.
Yeah. Amen.
Okay, I've got a really good question here from, now I don't know her actual name, Nacho's mum,
Oh.
which is quite cool actually. And this is Christmassy and not Christmassy. So because there are so many different foods around at Christmas, she would like to know how she can reintroduce fear or binge trigger foods in recovery without going back into a binge eating disorder.
Ooh, my favorite thing to talk about. I would also question the fact that had she had binge eating disorder, which in my opinion, you haven't, even though you are diagnosed, I was diagnosed with that too. If you have had restriction in the past, physically and or mentally, it's not binge eating disorder. It's reaction to restriction, either in the past or fear of restriction in the future. There's restriction involved, and I would go as far as guaranteeing that this is the case for this person too, Nacho's mum.
Mm.
How to, like Julie said, it's not just a Christmas thing. So the good news is she in England? Do you know if this
I
person?
don't know, actually, I don't know.
Well, I assume it's even worse in America. Well, not worse, but what I'm going to say is anywhere in the world, for example, where I am, you can buy Christmas stuff already.
Yes,
And it's literally not
absolutely.
even Halloween yet. So I would like her to start by actually buying Christmas stuff in now and having it in the house. So it's not just such a big, like for example, mine thing used to be Quality Streets. I would buy them in now and just allow myself to have some whenever I wanted any.
Yeah.
So start to introduce the Christmas food, the trigger food, but into your life now. And then I also, after Christmas, when it was all on sale, bought a load of it and had it up until gone Easter. So actually, it was only half the year that I was going without it because I would like backload it and then buy it early. And then the specialness got a bit lost, but actually, I would prefer to have Quality Streets be a normal part of everyday life than it be this big, anxious, provoking thing around Christmas.
I did that with mini eggs actually, because
Yeah.
not because I binged on them, because I just wouldn't even allow myself to consider that, but because I felt I had to have them around to feel safe,
Yeah.
and that there was such a scarcity around them that I just had to have packets around me to feel safe. And so, yeah, in recovery, I just had loads around and just ate them freely until they weren't a thing anymore. They were just an okay food to have whenever.
Yeah. Exactly that. So get the food in now if you can and allow yourself always to have however much of it you want. And at Christmas, when it comes to it, let's say you go somewhere and they've got something that you haven't brought in or didn't even know about because there's all sorts of new things coming out. Remind yourself. Julia said a key word, restriction. You said restriction or restrictive mindset, like you felt restrictive around it.
Scarcity, yeah.
Yeah, scarcity, that was it, not restriction. Same thing in a different way. If you have a scarcity mindset around it, you're going to feel anxious around it. You're going to eat more than perhaps you want and need in that moment, which is okay. But practice swapping scarcity mindset to an abundant mindset. Even if you're somewhere and they've got this dessert and you're like so full and you don't want to miss out on the dessert, take two portions home with you.
Yeah.
So you can have it later on or the next day or whatever. So that's what I used to do when we used to have fuddles at work, where everyone would bring stuff in.
Fuddles.
They called them fuddles. Have you not heard of that?
Never.
Fuddles, apparently, where
But
everyone
explain, what is a fuddle?
everyone brings something in to, like, it's
Okay.
massive buffet with sweet, savory, like in this massive company, and there's loads
Okay.
of food. So I was kind of mm, actually, I wasn't in recovery because I didn't start recovery till I met Wouter, and I didn't actually have a proper job when I moved here. So anyway, thinking back, I did a very sensible recovered action without realizing it. Maybe I was hoarding also, maybe. There's part of probably the hoarding from the binge eating stuff. But I would take stuff home with me. So if I didn't want it or if I was too full there and then, instead of freaking out that I would miss out, I would just take some back with me. So that kind of helped me feel like you with the mini eggs, like feel safe that it's okay, it's here. I can just take it with me and eat it another time. So the biggest goal for Nacho's mum is to let go of the scarcity mindset and replace it with an abundant mindset and allow all foods now that are your quote unquote trigger foods. And be gentle with yourself, reach out for help, allow, allow.
Yeah. Um, there's really very little to add to that.
I think
Yeah.
both of us are so on the same page with everything. We just repeat what each other says
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. No, it really is. And also one thing that it's okay to eat past fullness. It's okay if you do binge.
Yes,
You don't need to shame yourself or feel like you've failed or anything like that. It's a response to the restriction. Take
absolutely.
away the restriction and the binging just fades away.
Yep. I ask my clients to replace the word binge from their vocabulary with eating in reaction to restriction. So that is mental restriction, past physical restriction, fear of impending restriction. That's what a binge is.
Well, it's essentially a feast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is what people used to do once they got away from the famine, away from the lands where everything was scarce, got to the land of plenty. They would all sit down as a tribe and feast.
Till they couldn't move because they
Yes.
were so full.
Yeah.
And
And
imagine
that's
if
been now turned into apparently binging, but it's not. It's a response to restriction.
it is. And even if you're well fed, well nourished, like let's say I've had a lot of people say to me, yeah, but Victoria, I'm eating, they know they're eating quote unquote enough, a variety of foods in the day. This was past version of me. If you know you're eating enough, but if you're sat there with the quality street tin, like I used to do, and be like, right, after Christmas, I'm not having any more of these. I would literally eat the entire tin by myself in like one evening, even though I was really full, because restrictive mindset. Whereas
Yeah.
imagine if you were like, sweetheart, you can have quality streets whenever you want. So you can have the whole tin if you want to now. You can take a few. Like, just it's okay. It's not going to be taken away from you because you are not going to restrict anymore. You can actually then, number one, enjoy them more. And number two, choose to listen to your body's cues easier because you're not afraid of them not being there anymore.
Absolutely. Right.
Right.
What question have you got?
Next, it is similar to what I think Claire asked, but I'm going to ask it anyway because there might be a few bits that you want to add. So being overwhelmed, yes, because of the food, so much food, but also because of the people, so many people, and also because of the food options. So it's not necessarily just the amount of food, which that's part of it. It's the options of food and all the different people, like how the hell to navigate that.
I get that.
Mm.
That's a lot. And I used to really, really struggle with that. And to be honest, if there's a lot hitting my senses, I still struggle in with a sense of overwhelm with too many things going on at the same time. And the answer is to step out of it for a second, for me anyway, to go to the toilet and just
Message
spend
your
a
coach.
couple of minutes, message your coach. Yeah, I did that a lot. But just spend a couple of minutes coming back to the present, breathing, reassuring yourself that you're safe. and that you can do this, and basically giving yourself a loving, encouraging pep talk that you can do this, you are safe, and you can pop to the toilet every half an hour if you need to breathe and step out of the situation. That's okay.
Yeah. And is there a person that perhaps you do feel comfortable sharing with, just maybe one person in that group that you can just share, like, I feel quite overwhelmed, there's like a lot going on, because sharing can be really helpful. And what I've noticed, I mean, I am an extrovert, I do like to be in the center of it all. But sometimes I need to switch off. So I'm not saying I have the anxiety that this person does, but you also notice that a group full of people, a room full of people, they don't really notice you're missing, you going. So whereas I used to think, oh, I can't leave even if I want to, because everyone's going to be like, where's Victoria? No one actually cares that much because they're all busy with their own conversation. So it's okay to choose you and what you need and take breaks and go outside and go to the loo. And if you're in your old family house, like go up in your old bedroom and just have 5 minutes. That's okay. But you need to choose you because no one else will. Right.
Yeah. And I also used to find that, well, still find that busying myself with a task can be really helpful, like folding napkins into shapes or something, just to give myself a focus to be doing something. So I'm not just standing there feeling like a lemon,
Yeah. That's a
just
good.
something to do. And that always feels good.
Yeah, it might help settle into all the different energies in the room and stuff. And
Yeah.
also, it's okay because my husband's a introvert and he doesn't like busy people and busy places. He quite likes to just kind of take a set back and just watch what's going on. Whereas I feel, and this is still my work that I'm doing, I feel like I have to be contributing and guiding the conversation and leading. And if there's silence, I like have to fill it. That's my work. But he's quite happy in his practice, actually just observing and just not being fully in there, but also being physically there, if that makes sense. That's helpful for him.
Makes total sense. I've frequently been to like big meals and stuff like that where I've literally barely said a word.
Mm.
Um, but I'm involved, I'm listening, I'm smiling, I'm responding at the appropriate times, and I'm fully there, but I don't need to be speaking.
Yeah. You don't need to have any pressure to perform, I guess.
No.
Your
And I
time.
guess we ought to look at the overwhelming choice of food as well and how to deal with that.
Yes. I would say, because I'm looking at my notes here, like you said earlier, focus on the experience, not just the food. So, yes, food is a big part of Christmas, but it's the experience of everyone coming together, the different types of food, the varieties of food. See it for what else it could be, not just, oh my God, so much food. Because wherever your attention is, wherever you focus, that's where your attention is. That's your experience you're having. So notice what thoughts are playing out in your head. Is it, oh my God, there's so much food? Or is it like, wow, okay, look at all the different types of food that we have here? Like, make the bigger picture. I would also say this could be a great opportunity with compassion and gentleness to stay in alignment with recovery. So, given all this food, what a great opportunity to lovingly push yourself and eat the quote unquote scary food and take your time with it and choose someone who you know, if this is even possible in your family, who you know has a healthy, free relationship with food and just watch them. So I used to do this with my sister. And to be fair, not so much now, that's another story, sadly. But back when I was in, anorexia recovery, she did have a healthy relationship with food. And I used to watch her. And although I was copying, it really helped to reassure me, like, oh, she's getting more food. So I'm going to as well, because I had no idea how to trust me. But that really helped me to like watch someone and almost copy them, because then you get to know what like normal even is.
Yes, as long as you're not bringing in the rules of if they stop, I have to stop.
Yeah.
I can't have more than anybody else.
Yeah. Which the eating disorder will latch on to.
Oh, so much. Yeah.
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 Give yourself permission to try everything. And if you don't like it, that's fine. But only you will know if you don't like it or if the eating disorder is using it as an excuse not to have it because apparently you don't like it. Because I remember Julia told me one time, this was ages ago, she doesn't like cake. And my first reaction was like, are you sure you don't like cake or is it the eating disorder? And you were like, no, I actually don't like cake.
Yeah, no, I still don't like cake.
Still don't like cake. So obviously only the person will know what's really going on. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, whereas if someone offered me avocado on toast now, I literally have a reaction to avocado. So me saying no, thank you is genuine not restriction because I can't eat avocado.
Yeah, same with me and cake. And I've tried to like cake so many times, but I just don't like the texture. It just does nothing. It just feels like there are so many things I'd rather eat. Like chocolate cake, give me a bar of chocolate. I'm not scared of the chocolate. I'm very happy to have a bar. Or give me millionaire's shortbread, but I don't want cake. I
I,
just don't.
I like cake, but even better if it's lavished in hot chocolate fudge sauce. Or dry cake is a waste of time, if you ask me. So there we go. We digress onto cake, but
Look, we've moved on again, haven't we?
only you know the answer if you are restricting or not. And then lovingly, gently use all this food to help you and take one step at a time. Like breathe. I know it sounds obvious. Breathe and be like, oh, I'm noticing I'm overwhelmed. There's a lot of food. Like have a narration going on in your head and just be kind to yourself. And it's okay. Take your time, but eat and enjoy.
And it's one day.
Yeah,
It's
maybe two,
just
depending
one
on.
day in a year. So
Mm,
the messaging we get from society and stuff around Christmas is insane.
yeah.
I mean, it's started already for this year that you need to be booking this, doing this, getting this, wearing this. And really, it's one day. So you don't need to put so much pressure on yourself for one day.
No. And it is just a day. I mean, going into something deeper here, time is just a made up concept by humans anyway. So even the calendar, I mean, this is just going to be a short tangent, but it's kind of cool. Egyptians had a different calendar to what we did. The Chinese have a different calendar to what we have. There's no right or wrong. And I know we all live, not all of us, but most people listening to this live in a world where Christmas Day is the 25th of December and it's a big thing, but it's literally just a day.
It is.
Your dog doesn't know it's the 25th of December. It's just a day. So it's fine. Just
Yeah.
as much as possible.
Although my dogs do know when it's 5 o'clock. They don't know what date it is, but they
Time.
do know when it's 5 o'clock.
Yeah, my dog does too. And he's on pussy patrol at the moment because the bitches are in heat. I'm heavily pregnant. He's acting all weird, bless him. He hasn't eaten for 3.5 days. He won't even
Oh,
eat pasta, my food. And he's obsessed with me. And all he wants to do is go on a walk. And he wants to take me 2 hour walks. And I'm like, no, darling, I need to walk. Number one, slower. Also, we're not walking as far. And yeah, so he knows the time. And at 11:30, when I usually walk, he's literally coming to me and just staring at me. And if I ignore him, he like howls because he's a Malamute like a husky. So yeah, my dog knows the time too. But they don't know the days.
they don't know the days, no.
Be more dog.
Definitely.
I owe two. Slogan.
Definitely. Although I'm sorry, Evie rolled in some nasty fox thing, the fox poo perfume she wore, and then chased all the boys afterwards. So that's a bit of dog I don't want to be.
Is that today?
Yesterday.
Oh, Evie.
And then she was very, very, very annoyed that she had to have a bath.
I've seen her with her pajamas on. Anyway, I'll stop talking about things that
Yeah,
aren't
let's get back
Christmas.
to the subject. Okay. Um, Georgie would love some advice on accepting body changes and dressing in recovery.
Oh, love this one. And I say I love this one. I love all of them. But when I'm like, oh, it's because I'm like, I've literally had the exact same experience. So I'll address them both separately. So body changes, I guess, in general, but also at Christmas, because there is a focus on what are you wearing and
Yes.
blah, blah, blah. Especially if you're at work and you have like work events and things like that. So number one, in terms of body changes, what really helped me was like focusing again, like letting go of time, the concept of days and time, really, and focusing on this moment right now. This is the body I have in this exact moment. No matter how much I hate it, wish it was different, want to restrict, your body, my body, is how it is right now. So, how can I actually be okay with that? Because I can't magically change it. Even if I plan to change it, that's just going to lead right back to the eating disorder, which is what I don't want. So it's being here right now and fully practicing accepting the body you have in this moment. And the same will happen on Christmas Day, but it will be in that moment on Christmas Day, because we can future trip and worry and then worry what to wear. So in terms of bringing clothing into this, I chose something that, number one, I liked. I didn't like the way I looked in it because my body had got bigger and I kept comparing myself to the smaller me. But I chose something I actually liked. I chose something that I was physically comfortable in. Whereas that sounds quite obvious, but before, when I was super skinny and dressing just to look good, I would wear stuff, including heels and skinny jeans, that actually weren't physically comfortable, but just look good. I've dropped all that shit now. I need it to be physically comfortable. So, like it, physically comfortable. And then the emotional reaction you might have seeing yourself in this Christmas outfit, dress, whatever it is, that's when the theme again, self-compassion, gentleness, reminding yourself, okay, maybe I'm comparing myself to my past version of me, the thinner me. What did I have to do? How did I have to live to actually be in that thin body? And
Yeah.
remind yourself that that is not worth it. And then lastly on this, your natural authentic body size will happen when you eat unrestrictedly and then just listen to your body's cues and just, such a holistic way of living. But when you're happy, when you regulate your emotions, when you love who you are, your natural body then just appears. So I would rather be my natural, authentic self, including living in my natural, authentic body size, which might be bigger than I currently wanted it to be? Or do I want to be inauthentic and restrict in order to look good? And I just kept choosing what felt right to me. And it was always my just raw, real, natural self. So I know that's kind of a lot of things in one, but that's how I would approach body changes and at Christmas as well.
Yeah. Couple of bits to pick up on that came into my head was with you'll get into your natural body size. I found that I had to let go of wishing it was different,
Yeah.
to stop secretly hoping that like the overshoot's going to go, secretly hoping that this is going to happen, secretly hoping that it's going to settle into this size.
Mm.
Because when I was doing that, I wasn't accepting what it actually was.
Yeah.
And so it was almost like that was like a sneaky ED behavior, a sneaky underhand. I was like, well, it's okay like this, and hopefully it'll be like this at this point. And it's not really accepting. I thought I was accepting it, but I wasn't.
Like conditional acceptance.
Yes. So to be aware of that. Um, can you do things that have nothing to do with your body that make you feel good? Like have your nails done. Love having my nails done. Get your hair done really nicely. Put some nice makeup on if that's your thing. Not mine, clearly. Nobody ever sees me with it on. But other things that make you look good. Like I've got a necklace on I love today. And it doesn't have to be about your body or about your clothes. And a quick plug for a previous podcast episode of mine was with a stylist called Alice Nichols, who actually talked about how different clothes fit your changing body and how I used to like hide away in almost like sack-like clothes, and they actually made me look bigger than I was.
Mm.
They were, in my eyes, I was hiding, but since I've actually embraced my body and wear clothes that aren't just trying to cover it up and hide it. I mean, I'm not like walking the streets in a bikini or anything because it was just too cold. It's nearly November. But since I'm not trying to hide every part of my body, I've
Mm.
been able to accept my body so much more. And I wear clothes that feel good and also flatter the figure I have now.
Mm.
So Alice explains really quite well in that episode, far better than I'm doing now, about how we can help ourselves with that sort of thing. So I can't remember what episode it is, but it's with Alice Nichols and it's somewhere back on my episodes. So yeah,
I
now.
love that word embrace because, like you say, when I was no longer hiding, I was able
Mm.
to embrace my real body that day. And then when you can embrace something, you can, let's say, adorn it, if that's the right word to use. If you've got given a glass, this is a very big glass as an analogy. This glass is your body, that your natural, authentic body. You can wish you had a different glass. You can be annoyed you don't have a smaller glass. You could wish it looked like her glass next door, but this is your glass. So you can put like a nice sleeve over this little glass, or you can put some glitter on. Obviously, you know where I'm going with that. Like Julia so beautifully said, when you let go of wishing, hoping, fighting you were different, you're then in acceptance, then you create space to embrace, and then you can start to have fun with colors and styles without it being about your body size, and actually your whole personality starts to come through. So yeah, absolutely love that.
And the thing is, when you're wishing it was different and you're wanting that it's going to be like this then and it's going to settle down and you're going to lose this and you're fighting what is. You're
Yeah.
actually fighting reality. And
Suffer.
that's never, ever going to end in your favor.
Never. In fact, I had a client ask me this 2 days ago, and I'm smiling because it's a question that I get asked a lot. And I smile at the answer and I say to them, so I'll tell you the story. So she messaged me saying, I'm allowing all the food. I'm really proud of myself. Like I'm eating unrestrictedly, et cetera, which is great. And she's like, I'm just curious, like when it will stop. Like, when do you think I'll stop putting weight on? And she wasn't doing it from a really clingy, like anxious energy, like at the beginning of recovery, but it was still a question. And I replied and I said, you're going to hate my answer, just FYI. But I promise you, when you stop asking any question like that, when you genuinely are just like, do you know what? This is my body today, and it is what it is. That's when everything like falls into place, and you can't accept in order to, like Julia said you were doing before, accepting
Mhm.
your body in order to perhaps lose the overshoot weight, etc., etc. That's not true acceptance, that's conditional acceptance. So when you're like, this is what my body looks like, then everything just shifts and you also don't care, but you end up naturally in your authentic body. It's like the chicken and the egg, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got to stop hustling for what you think you want and surrender to what is.
Oh, that is a quote. I hope AI picks that one up and puts it in the
Definitely.
quote card.
Um,
Okay,
wow.
it's my turn to
Okay,
ask.
it's your turn, isn't it?
It's my turn to ask you one, right?
Yeah.
This is from the lovely Hetty, and I've wrote loads of bullet points, but it's you can answer this in like one sentence. What I'm going to ask it you: how to allow yourself to just eat all the food.
In the simplest terms, just eat all the food. Just say, okay, I'm going to give myself permission to just eat all the food. Because what's the alternative? It's restriction. And then that's the eating disorder behavior.
Yeah.
So if you want recovery, you literally just have to give yourself permission to eat all the food.
And work on the shit that comes up when you do that, because there's going to be stuff that comes
Absolutely.
up.
Oh, lots is going to come up, definitely. And that's where coaching is invaluable, really, isn't it?
Yeah, which is the point. It's not just the behavior, it's the stuff underneath.
It's the stuff underneath far more than the behavior.
The behavior is just a symptom.
That's what created the behavior in the
Yeah.
first place.
Exactly. So, do you have anything to add before I just go through my list? Because I don't want to override the question I've just asked you. Because it is that it's very simple, but not easy. It's literally allow yourself.
Yeah. No, you go for it. Go for your list.
Well, I guess because we're talking about holiday and Christmas, I guess it's a letting go of the holiday rules. I'm not sure what rules each family or you might have for yourself. Like I used to be like, okay, Christmas is coming up, so I'll lose weight before, then I'll exercise on Christmas morning, then I won't eat all day. So you have all these like,
Oh God, yeah, so many. And the exercise in Christmas morning, like ridiculousness. Yeah,
yeah. So let go of all that shit. So, because I used to quote allow the food, but they had to be a consequence of events leading up to me allowing myself to allow the food,
yeah.
which is just what you said. So
The
repeat
allowance then, isn't it?
no, it's not true allowance. It's what you said to me. Do you mind repeating it? Because it's yours. You said to me a year ago, probably on WhatsApp, and you gave a client an example of an analogy of them going to work and earning money and then doing something after.
Oh,
If,
then giving it all back.
yeah, right. When you said that to me, I was like, that is a beautiful way of describing it because whether it's compensatory, again, this is before or after. So after Boxing Day, if you've got a plan to like, right, between now and New Year, I'm going to not eat. That's like Julia said, going to work for a month, getting a wage, and then just giving the money back.
Yeah,
Why would you do that when you made progress?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so challenge holiday rules, like your own rules, maybe family rules. Maybe you can't have breakfast because we're eating at 12. If you want breakfast, have breakfast. It's fine.
Yeah. And if you're in recovery, please do have breakfast because it's not just about what food's coming later in the day. It's about helping your body feel safe. And your body is not going to feel safe when you're skipping meals to compensate for having different meals later.
Exactly. And it does defeat the object of recovery. And we don't want to take away the fact that we would acknowledge you for having the Christmas food and everything, because that can be a massive thing for some people. But why allow yourself to take that kind of away a little bit by compensating before or
Yeah.
after? So that's really key. I would also say, this isn't even on my list, but it's come to me, practicing, stop comparing yourself to other people because people, not everyone has an eating disorder, not everyone has disordered eating. Most people are in diet culture, sadly. So stay in your own lane. If you want quality streets at 9 in the morning and no one else is because they've just had breakfast, allow you, it's that word again, allowance, allow yourself to have it and stop comparing, stop needing permission from someone else. Give yourself the permission. And ultimately, last thing I'll say about this question is what do you want most? Do you want to live in freedom, freedom around food? Physically, freedom around food mentally, freedom of self expression, freedom to be in your authentic body. What path is going to get you there? Because it's not restriction, it's allowance.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be quite nice. This has just come into my head. It's quite random. To after you've listened to this episode, sit down with a pen and a piece of paper and write yourself a letter to open on Christmas morning
Oh, yeah.
and have that be the first thing you open on Christmas morning. And that letter is your permission slip to just enjoy the day, surrender, eat whatever foods you want to eat, and with no rules, and just let go and just give yourself that love now for Christmas morning when you're feeling possibly a bit more anxious.
Yeah, I love that idea, Julia. I love that so much. Yeah, do that. Because what a beautiful thing to open on Christmas morning because we can do all the work beforehand and prep ourselves. But when the time actually comes, sometimes all the work you've done before can go out the window because your overwhelming emotions hit
Yeah.
you. But if you've got those beautiful anchors and reminders in place, yeah, I love that.
You could do a voice recording saying, okay, sweetheart, it's Christmas morning. All the thoughts are coming in your head, but you are totally allowed to have all the food. You are good enough. You are loved. And all the things that you think you're going to need to hear, you can record them and listen to it on Christmas morning.
Absolutely.
Letter or a voice note or whatever.
Yeah. And if you have an awesome coach, Doesn't have to be me or Julia. It can be any coach. And I know not everyone is privileged enough to be able to have a coach. I get that. Or you could ask a friend. Ask if you, because I have a lot of people say I don't like my own voice and it triggers me even more to hear my own voice. Your coach will happily, I'm sure, if they're anything like me or Julia anyway, will record that for you if you give them notice to do it in time. Probably not Christmas morning when you need it, but in advance, they will happily record that for you and give you something to listen to. Or a trusted friend, if you write down what you need to hear, they can do that. Then you can listen to their voice on Christmas morning too to help.
Yeah, yeah. And um, the more you listen to your own voice, the less triggering it gets. I used to hate my voice. I used to hate my voice so much that I barely spoke. Um, and now I'm talking all the time, look.
I love it's ironic because you have such a beautiful, soft, loving, calm voice. I love your voice and also quite envious of your posher accent than mine.
That's because you're not.
Always, because
It's
I'm a
not
northerner.
Russian, it's just north south.
Yeah, that's true. Even posh is a human concept, right?
Yeah, it's just a different dialect. It's not posher or less posh. It's just a
Mm.
different area of growing up, different sounds that you heard.
True. Can't wait to hear what my daughter sounds like because my husband will be speaking, as you know, Julia, Dutch to her, and I'll be speaking English to her. And the midwife says to me, do not speak Dutch to your daughter because she's going to get a really weird English Dutch accent. I'm like, oh, that's fine. I won't speak Dutch to her at all. So, yeah, even that's a concept.
Awesome. Right. Do you think we've got time for one more?
I reckon two more because I've actually not got any more questions.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
see
So
how
I have actually got a few more questions. Um, okay, this is from Julia, but not me.
yeah.
Does does the metabolism increase when you eat more? What to do if you're already gaining on a low intake?
Oh, the answer to that is yes. Your metabolism does increase when you eat more. Imagine it like a fire. The more wood you put on the fire, the stronger or more intensely it burns. The reason why perhaps you're gaining weight on a restrictive diet now is because your body's holding on to everything it can
Because your weight's suppressed.
because your weight's suppressed and we have a set point weight. It works both ways. If I was to force feed myself, I could gain weight if I force fed myself. But the second I ate normally, I would lose weight. I can
Mm.
also, well, actually, I probably literally, I don't think I physically can restrict anymore, thankfully.
Now,
I could restrict, let's say, and I could lose weight, but the second I eat normally again, my weight's going to go back up to my set point. So it's trusting, which is the hardest fucking thing to do. You have a set point, you won't keep gaining weight forever, and to just eat to your mental and physical hunger and trust that your metabolism, your body's going to do what it needs to do. And I mean, this I guess is comparing to other people, but I would say I eat a lot of food for my height and I just stay the same weight. Well, I don't know because I don't weigh myself, but you know what I'm saying. The same
both sides.
size.
Yeah, your clothes don't change on you. So yeah, same actually. And sometimes, like this week, randomly, I've been so hungry. I'm needing to snack a lot more. I'm even waking up in the night needing to eat. I'm not having less in my meals. In fact, I'm eating more in my meals. I'm just really, really, really hungry this week. Next week, I might not be quite so hungry. And I have no idea why I'm really hungry this week, but I know that my body is clearly needing it for some reason or another. And it will sort out to, I will probably stay just about exactly the same size I am now because my body knows what to do.
Yes. Your body's not sending you hunger signals just to piss you off.
No,
It does it for a reason. And just last time I checked, I think biology and life creation is smarter than us. Just say,
definitely. Although, if I could request, I would say, please don't wake me up in the night hungry
yeah.
because I would rather sleep. But it is what it is, right?
Amen to that.
But also with that, you will gain until you don't need to gain anymore. Definitely.
Gaining, you need to gain.
Yeah. And the more you eat, the more your body feels safe, the more your body will feel safe enough to increase your metabolism again.
Yeah. And what helped me, just something that came to my mind when I was in that, when I was like, right, I'm going to gain weight. It's inevitable. To help prep me for that, because I didn't know what the hell to do and I was freaking the fuck out. Obviously, I got a coach. And again, not everyone's privileged to be able to do that, but I did. I didn't have the money. I whacked it on a credit card, by the way. I didn't actually have the money. I made it work. And again, privileged that I can do that. But I went on Instagram and used it to my advantage. So I kind of guess, and again, this was a bit of a controlling way to do it because I had no idea what size I would end up. But I guesstimated the size that I might end up, which was a lot bigger than what I was, and actually bigger than I am now. And I would purposely look at these women who looked like they were loving themselves, living a great life every day to prep myself to be like, right, I'm going to be okay looking like that similar size and shape. And I didn't actually end up like that, but it helped massively to be like, I'm going to brainwash myself because I've been brainwashed now anyway in diet culture to actually be okay with having a bigger body like these women. And that really helped me let go, actually.
Yeah, definitely. I've actually found another Christmas question.
Okay, last question.
Okay, this is from Connie, your Connie.
Oh, hi, Connie.
How to not preemptively restrict when you will be in settings where you have little choice over what is put on your plate and you're expected to eat it to be polite. And she's just put, for context, I feel like most of the time I can now honor hunger, eat when I feel like it, and I'm not worried about it. Eating out is also okay. But around Christmas, lots of us are with family or in a context where we might be served food and expected to eat it and all, eat it all. This is an area I notice restrictions still shouting for my attention. Um, yeah, preemptive restriction is a thing for sure.
I'll let you go first. One, because I went first last time, and two, because she can also get input from me personally. And I'll add mine at the end, but you get Julie's beautiful wisdom also.
First of all, is preemptive restriction, is somebody that does that the person you want to be?
Mm.
Literally ask who you want to be. Do you want to be that sort of person? When you have worked so hard to recover, because you haven't recovered if you haven't worked so hard, literally, it's never easy.
Mm.
Why would you even consider doing something to risk that, like preemptively restricting? Why would you do that?
Yeah. She is most, and knowing Connie a bit more as well, it's about choosing her, choosing what is right for her. And I know it's really hard in family environments, especially the dynamic that I know is there. And it's an opportunity to really choose herself. This is for everyone else who resonates too. And it similar to a question we answered before, but really tuning into self and being okay with other people judging you and saying stuff, most likely. And so expect that. Don't go into it. I'm not saying she will, but we're not saying, oh, if you just set boundaries, it's all fine and no one will say anything. And it's no, people will probably say something and it's probably going to be uncomfortable. But if you stay true to you, that is the most important thing because nobody else is living your life apart from you. Nobody.
Yeah. And when comments come in, you can acknowledge to yourself that, yeah, that hurt.
Mm.
And you're staying true to yourself and give yourself compassion for how it feels because I mean nobody likes comments about them or what they're eating or what size they are or anything like that. So give yourself compassion for how it feels and celebrate yourself for sticking to the person you want to be.
And like Julia said, write yourself a little love note
Yeah.
now and on Christmas morning or both, reminding yourself, like, right, today is the day. These are the feelings I have about it. This is what the old me would have done. The old me would have behaved and thought this certain way. But now, this is how I'm going to think and behave and act. So you can prep beforehand to get clear with who you want to be and how you're going to think and how you're going to behave, and be ready for the consequences and meet yourself with love and compassion and take a break. You're a grown-ass adult. You can leave the house if you want to. You can literally excuse yourself. You are not being controlled by anyone anymore. You get to decide as well.
I can't even remember where I heard it. I heard a lovely thing saying that when we're born, we have one job, and that is to look after this human version of us, to look after this body that we've been given, to look after our needs. And that is our one job. And anything else is on top of that. But our one job is to look after ourselves first.
Yeah. So let's do that. I know we've been conditioned not to do that. I know as children and babies, we were dependable on other people to look after our physical and emotional needs. But if you're listening or watching this, you're most likely an adult or almost an adult, and you can meet your own needs. It's not fair that you have to because no one else did, but you can now.
Yeah. And it is ultimately your job to look after you.
Yeah, nobody else's.
And
Nobody else's.
it's your job to look after you before you look after anyone else.
Yeah, as they say in the aeroplanes, put your oxygen mask on before you put your child's on, or something like that. And it's so true, because you're no good to your child if you're dead, are you?
Not at all.
So that's a bit dramatic example, but you know what we're you know what we're saying. Don't mean to be end it in a dramatic way. Um, but they were great questions. And as always, Julia, I absolutely love. We're going to be doing more of these. Obviously, I'm a bit on I want to say I'm not going AWOL, but I will be in the background just for a couple of months. I'll be back in January. So yeah, watch this space. We will
Yeah,
be back.
definitely more of these. Apologies to anyone's questions we haven't answered. I know there was a few that we didn't get to. Um, please don't take it personally. It's just time. And next time we put out, please ask again. And we'll
Yes,
definitely, especially if you put you didn't get time to answer mine last time, we'll put it to the front and make sure we answer it next time. So yeah.
please. And can I give a plug in there?
Yeah.
Answer questions. I have a free, completely free support group where I do visit in there regularly and answer any direct questions. So if you don't want to wait, then join that. Julie's in there too, but she's obviously very busy with her own stuff. But her presence and love is in the background in there. You can ask me a question and I'll answer you directly. It just might take, no longer than a week you'll have to wait, but at least you're going to get an answer. So you can also, it's a safe place to ask questions without having to wait for a podcast episode as well. And that's all on my website, blah, blah, blah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And just have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas or holiday season or whatever is your thing.
Yes. Allow allow yourself to have fun as well.
Yeah,
Make cookies, enjoy the smells, like be present. Make this Christmas different this time.
yeah.
You get
There's
to
still traditions, but you can start new traditions. Like I'm going to go to our woods. We've got the blueberries, so that we've got some woods next to them. And I'm going to get some willow sticks. I'm going to do it in a couple of weeks actually. Soak them, then I'm going to make a willow wreath.
Oh,
And I'm going to get some holly and stuff and make a door wreath this year.
that's
I think it's going to be cool.
check out Julia's social media because maybe she'll share it.
I did one like as part of a course thing last year, and it was really fun. And then I just thought, well, I can do that myself, and I can do it from our woods, and I can go and gather all the stuff, and the dogs can come and help me.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so it's going to be great.
Beautiful. So, to end on, perhaps choose a new tradition that you want to bring into your family.
Yes, and write yourself a loving letter for Christmas morning or a Christmas card. Hey,
Yeah, both, all the things.
yeah,
Yeah, so happy Christmas. Obviously, it feels a bit weird saying that in late October, but enjoy your time. We'll be here in the background. We love you loads. Thank you for your questions.
yeah,
Julia, always lovely to share a space with you. We chat every day, me and Julia. It's great.
yeah. It's
It,
absolutely brilliant.
see you all next time. Love
Lots
you.
of love.
Love you. Bye.